Let's now move to New Delhi, where recently a low-intensity blast took place near the Israel embassy. It coincided with the anniversary of India and Israel establishing full diplomatic relations on January 29, 1992. The blast, claimed to be carried out by an unknown terror outfit, seems to be an attempt to dent India's diplomatic relations with Israel.
A blast caused by a very low-intensity improvised device near the Israeli embassy in New Delhi shattered the windscreens of 3 cars in the area. Fortunately, no one was injured in the incident. Although an unknown and unheard organization named Jaish-ul-Hind claimed responsibility for the blast, the National Investigation Agency is currently probing the claim made on Telegram.
सर जितने एग्जिबिट हमने कलेक्ट करे हैं हमने सब आईओ को हैंडओवर कर दिए हैं। एक्सप्लोजन था, अभी क्या एक्सप्लोजन था ये लेबोरेटरी में एग्जामिनेशन के बाद, केमिकल एग्जामिनेशन के बाद ही हम लोग बता पाएंगे।
Moreover, a letter found close to the scene of a blast was a death threat to the Israeli ambassador that warned he was constantly being watched and could be attacked at any time. The handwritten note in English was addressed to the ambassador Ron Malka and referred to him as a terrorist of the terrorist nation. The explosion took place on a day the two countries marked the 29th anniversary of the establishment of their diplomatic relations. This explosion is also being seen as an attempt to dent India-Israel ties.
All the options are there on the table. What we can see, and I should mention, is that yesterday, when this aerial attack was conducted, we celebrated the 29th anniversary for the full establishment of diplomatic relations between Israel and India. Exactly yesterday. 29 years of thriving and growing relations between Israel and India. We just celebrated yesterday, so it might not be a coincidence. But again, all the options are investigated.
This isn't the first time that India-Israel diplomatic ties were tested. In February 2012, a bomb attack on an Israeli diplomatic car in the national capital left 4 people injured. There are some countries and some non-state organizations that don't really like what is happening between Israel and India, which can be a shining example for the world how two countries can collaborate and work together. Since the two countries formally established diplomatic relations years ago, New Delhi and Tel Aviv have cemented the understanding that as democracies and victims of terror, both sides would collectively fight this menace. After this incident, security has been raised up for Israeli tourists in India.
दिल्ली के इंसिडेंट के बाद यहाँ पर भी मैक्लोडगंज धर्मकोट के इलाके में जहाँ पर इजरायली पॉपुलेशन है वहाँ पर पेट्रोलिंग इंटेंसिफाई कर दी गई है, दिन में भी रात में भी, और पुलिस स्टेशन मैक्लोडगंज हैज़ बीन पुट ऑन अलर्ट to cope with any situation if it arises.
Israel, with its extensive knowledge of Islamic terror organizations, their funding, training, and overall modus operandi, remains the formidable partner of India. But this is exactly what some nations and forces are not comfortable with. After this detonation, India promised the fullest protection for Israel's mission and diplomats and pledged to spare no effort to trace the perpetrators, and Israel has also shown full trust in Indian authorities.
Well, the Ministry of External Affairs, Dr. Jaishankar, called our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Foreign Secretary called our DG in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The NSA called our NSA. So there is a full collaboration. They, of course, gave their assurances and offered all the support and the protection that we need, and if there's any assistance that we need. And of course, said as usually we say between friends, they will do whatever is needed, and we have full trust in the Indian authorities that will take any measures that are needed, first to protect the Israeli representatives that are here in India, and second, to conclude this investigation and finding those that are responsible for that.
Any attempt to disrupt the growing strategic partnership between New Delhi and Jerusalem will go in vain. Whoever feels threatened by the expanding and flourishing relations between India and Israel will not get its target, because both the countries are going to expand it further and will prosper together.